Hello relatives, welcome to this week's Schlagbite entitled Night on Bald Mountain for the week November 16th, 2009. So last week I spoke to medical students in Portland, Oregon. And when I was finished, I drove to the central Oregon coast. It was nighttime and I was going to address the Oregon Rural Health Association in the morning. That drive usually takes a couple of hours. But it took me twice that long because there was a torrential storm with pelting rain and strong winds. The windshield wipers were slapping time more to the rhythm of Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain than me and Bobby McGee. I was on a dark two-lane country road, hunched over the wheel, gripping it with white-knuckled intensity. When I arrived at the lovely Salishan Lodge, I celebrated my death-defying carnival ride with a glass of champagne and twin lobster tails, my preferred Last Supper meal. The next morning it was still raining when I addressed the group, and I began my remarks by telling them how delighted I was to be with them, having survived last night's incredible ride. Over the next 2 days, the awesome power of nature continued to shine. The rain continued almost unabated, interspersed with moments of sunshine and one hailstone with pellets the size of ping pong balls. The most extraordinary sight were the 30-foot waves that are rarely seen here. The pounding surf was so intense it left a 3-foot layer of foam on the shoreline. I holed up in a pub that looked directly out on the ocean, and I took out a pad and I wrote and I sipped and was mesmerized by the waves that carried a huge tree trunk in and out from the shore as if it were a toothpick. There is something about being surrounded by the awesome power of nature that always tames the ego. In the midst of such displays, we recognize our mortal insignificance, our presence on the planet small. We are like a buffalo fart in a blizzard. That's the state of awareness I was in when I arrived at my nephew's home in Portland. He's a soccer aficionado and was watching a soccer game with a friend. It was a Saturday afternoon party, and he watched some games that he pre-recorded from the world's premier leagues. It's also my favorite game. Played soccer as a boy with my father. He was a great player, and he was graciously tolerant of my hopeless mediocrity. Anyhow, we're sitting in front of the game, I'm talking about him, and I remember that this day, today, is the 32nd anniversary of my father's death. So on top of my already reflective mood comes this awesome synchronicity. Talking soccer with the boys, I am filled at the moment with such warm nostalgia. I described Sunday afternoons when I was a kid in Van Cortlandt Park with soccer leagues that represented every country in Europe, and refugees who spoke German, Italian, Hungarian, and Gaelic, and you could smell the food from the picnics on the grass. My father was a good, kind, gentle man. What a weekend it was, filled with potent, serendipitous events that made me think about the ordinary existential questions and ponder about what it all means. And what new awareness came to me? Well, maybe just new reminders. Enjoy every supper as if it were your last. Spend time kicking balls with somebody you love. Walk in the rain more often. Love the ones you live with, because they will tell your stories and smile. Have a great week. Remember your connections. For those of you who tried the link last week, I've added a couple of links again this week to Patch Adams' Parent and Child Clown Trip, and I prematurely removed the Torah to Teepee workshop, which will take place in December in California with Rabbi Gershon Winkler. Have a great week. Touch somebody. I say this for all my relations. Mitakuye.